Good evening. Let's read a bit more before I'm getting too tired. So I'll just go to bed and reading. I probably do this every day in the next many weeks because still have a long winter.
Tabun, nerve agent. Tabun amnesia park name, RS. Ethyl N-endomethyl phosphoramidocyanidate. The names GA, ethyl dimethyl phosphoramidocyanidate. Dimethylaminoethoxycyanophosphine oxide. Dimethylamidate oxyphosphorylcyanide. cyanide. Ethyl dimethylaminocyanophosphonate. Ethyl ester of dimethyl phosphoromidocyanidate acid. Ethyl phosphorodimethylamidocyanidate. Cyanodimethylaminoethoxyphosphine oxide. Dimethylaminoethylcyanophosphine oxide, EA1205, TL1578 identifiers. Tabun or GA is an extremely toxic synthetic organophosphorus compound. 1. It is a clear, colorless, and tasteless liquid with a faint fruity odor. 2. It is classified as a nerve agent because it can fatally interfere with normal functioning of the mammalian nervous system. Its production is strictly controlled and stockpiling outlawed by the Chemical Weapons Convention of 1993. Tabun is the first of G-series nerve agents along with GB, sarin, GD, soman, and GF, cyclosarin. Although pure Tabun is clear, less pure Tabun may be brown. It is a volatile chemical, although less so than either sarin or soman. 2. Tabun can be deactivated chemically using common oxidizing agents such as sodium hypochlorite. 3. Synthesis. Tabun was made on an industrial scale by Germany during World War II, based on a process developed by Gerhard Schrader. In the chemical agent factory in Dehernfurth-en-Gouda, codenamed Hochwerk, at least 12,000 metric tons of this agent were manufactured between 1942 and 1945. The manufacturing process consisted of 2 steps. The first being ingrection of gaseous dimethylamine, 1, with an excess of phosphoryl chloride, 2, yielding dimethylamidophosphoric dichloride, 3, codenamed product 39 or D4, and dimethylammonium chloride, 4. The dimethylamidоphosphoric dichloride thus obtained was purified by vacuum distillation and thereafter transferred to the main Tabun production line. Here it was reacted with an excess of sodium cyanide, 5, dispersed in dichlorobenzene, yielding the intermediate dimethylamidophosphoric dicyanide, not depicted in Fescho, and sodium chloride, 8. Then, absolute ethanol, 6, was added, reacting with the dimethylamidophosphoric dicyanide to yield Tabun, 7, and hydrogen cyanide, 9. After reaction, the mixture, consisting of about 75% chlorobenzene and 25% Tabun, along with insoluble salts and the rest of the hydrogen cyanide, was filtered to remove the insoluble salts and vacuum distilled to remove hydrogen cyanide and excess chlorobenzene, so yielding the technical CAS number 77-81-6 check. 3D model, J-Small, interactive image. Chemboshimber 1097650. Chemistry Spider 6254 check. Pub Chemistry 66500. Unius 45 M750 QSH check. Comptox dashboard, EPA, C date 0861631. In Kimchi equals 1S /C5H11N202P /C1-4-9-10, 8,5-6, 7, 2, 3 /H4H2,1-3H3 check. P. Pufservum via Afforisa N check. Inchi equals 1 /C5H11N202P /C1-4-9-10, 8,5-6, 7, 2, 3 /H4H2,1-3H3P. Pufservum via Afvowig. Smiley and hash CP equals OCC N C C. Property is chemical formula 5H11N202P molar mass 162.129 G times mol 1. Product consisting either of 95% Tabun with 5% chlorobenzene, Tabun or, later in the war, of 80% Tabun with 20% chlorobenzene, Tabun B. 4. Appearance colorless to brown, liquid density 1.0887 G /centimeter 3 at 25 degrees C 1.102 G /centimeter 3 at 20 degrees C melting point 50 degrees C, 58 degree F, 223 K, boiling point 247.5 degrees C, 477.5 degree F, 520.6 K. Solubility in water 9.8 G /100 G at 25 degrees C 7.2 G /100 G at 20 degrees C vapor pressure 0.07 mm Hg 9 Pa. Hazards occupational safety and health. OS/OSH main hazards highly toxic. Fires involving this chemical may result in formation of hydrogen cyanide NFPA704, fire diamond, NFPA 704 4-colored diamond. 421 flash point 78 degrees C, 172 degrees Fahrenheit, 351 K, except where otherwise noted. Data are given for materials in their standard state, at 25 degrees Celsius. 77 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 kPa. Verify what is check. Infobox references. Effects of exposure. The symptoms of exposure include sad smiley 5, 6, 7, nervousness / restlessness, miosis, contraction of the pupil, rhinorrhea, runny nose, excessive salivation, dyspnea. Difficulty in breathing due to bronchoconstriction / secretions, sweating, bradycardia, slow heartbeat, loss of consciousness, convulsions, flaccid paralysis, loss of bladder and bowel control, apnea, breathing stopped, and lung blisters. These symptoms of exposure are similar to those created by all nerve agents. Tabun is toxic even in minute doses. The number and severity of symptoms which appear vary according to the amount of the agent absorbed and rate of entry of it into the body. Very small skin dosages sometimes cause local sweating and tremors accompanied with characteristically constricted pupils with few other effects. Tabun is about half as toxic as sarin by inhalation, but in very low concentrations it is more irritating to the eyes than sarin. Tabun also breaks down slowly, which after repeated exposure can lead to build-up in the body. 2. The effects of Tabun appear slowly when Tabun is absorbed through the skin rather than inhaled. A victim may absorb a lethal dose quickly, although death may be delayed for 1 to 2 hours. 6. A person's clothing can release the toxic chemical for up to 30 minutes after exposure. 2. Inhaled lethal dosages kill in under 10 minutes, and liquid absorbed through the eyes kills almost as quickly. However, people who experience mild to moderate exposure to Tabun can recover completely, if treated almost as soon as exposure occurs. 2. The median lethal dose, LD50, for Tabun is about 400 mg min/m3.8. The lethal dose for a man is about 0.01 mg/kg. The median lethal dose for respiration is 400 mg/min/m3 for humans. Respiratory lethal doses can kill any time from 1 to 10 minutes. When the liquid enters the eye, it also can kill just as quickly. When absorbed via the skin, death may occur in 1 to 2 minutes, or it can take up to 2 hours. 9. Treatment for suspected Tabun poisoning is often 3 injections of a nerve agent antidote, such as atropine.7. Pralidoxine chloride, 2 pamcl, also works as an antidote. However, it must be administered within minutes to a few hours following exposure to be effective. 10. History. Research into ethyl-diethylaminocyanophosphonate began in the late 19th century. In 1898, Adolf Sklar, a graduate student at the University of Rostock under Professor August Michaelis, synthesized the diethylamino analog of Tabun. As part of his PhD thesis über die Einwirkung von Phosphoroxybromide auf sekundärliphatis Jamine. 11. However, Sklar incorrectly identified the structure of the substance as an imidopa, and Michaelis corrected him in a 1903 article in Liebig's Annalen, über die Organisation des Phosphors MITDEM Stickstoff. The high toxicity of the substance, as well as the high toxicity of its precursors, diethylamidоphosphoric dichloride and dimethylamidоphosphoric dichloride, wasn't noticed at the time, most likely due to the low yield of the synthetic reactions used. Tabun became the first nerve agent known after a property of this chemical was discovered by pure accident in late December 1936. 2, 5, 12, 13, 14. By German researcher Gerhard Schrader. 14. Schrader was experimenting with a class of compounds called organophosphates, which kill insects by interrupting their nervous systems, to create a more effective insecticide for IG Farben, a German chemical and pharmaceutical industry conglomerate, at Elbfeld. The substance he discovered, as well as being a potent insecticide, was enormously toxic to humans. It was hence named Tabun, a tongue-in-cheek code name to indicate that the substance was taboo, German, tabu, for its intended purpose. During World War II, as part of the Grun 3 program, a plant for the manufacture of Tabun was established at De Hernfer, now Brzeg Dolny, Poland, in 1939. 14. Run by Anorgana GmbH. The plant began production of the substance in 1942. 14. The reason for the delay was the extreme precautions used by the plant. 14. Intermediate products of Tabun were corrosive, and had to be contained in quartz or silver-lined vessels. Tabun itself was also highly toxic, and final reactions were conducted behind double glass walls. 14. Large-scale manufacturing of the agent resulted in problems with Tabun's degradation over time, and only around 12,500 tons of material were manufactured before the plant was seized by the Soviet Army. The plant initially produced shells and aerial bombs using a 95:5 mix of Tabun and chlorobenzene designated variant A. In the latter half of the war, the plant switched to variant B, an 80 hours 20 minutes mix of Tabun and chlorobenzene designed for easier dispersion. The Soviets dismantled the plant and shipped it to Russia. During the Nuremberg trials, Albert Speer, Minister of Armaments and War Production for the Third Reich, testified that he had planned to kill Adolf Hitler in early 1945 by introducing Tabun into Führerbunker ventilation shaft. 15. He said his efforts were frustrated by the impracticality of Tabun and his lack of ready access to a replacement nerve agent. 15. and also by the unexpected construction of a tall chimney that put the air intake out of reach. The US once considered repurposing captured German stocks of Tabun, GA, prior to production of sarin, GB. 16. Like the other Allied governments, the Soviets soon abandoned Tabun, GA, for sarin, GB, and Suman, GD. Large quantities of the German manufactured agent were dumped into the sea to neutralize F substance. Since GA is much easier to produce than the other G series weapons and the process is comparatively